track record here at Amaroo Park. So the Mazdas are back. Sitting on pole position, Terry Shield. Outside of him, Barry Jones. Then the Commodore of Alan Grice, as you can see.
Also in the field, Kevin Bartlett, Camaro, Ken Matthews, Commodore, Tony Cabbage, RX-7, Andrew Harris in a Falcon, and John Craft in a Capri.
And I think we may be missing, looking for the Turbo Nissan.
Gone.
Yes, not there. Freddie Gibson not at the line.
They're off and racing with Barry Jones actually winning the jump here on the outside of Terry Shield, and they run up to the top of Vitchepave Hill. Heading over and dropping down into the left-hander as they go past Marlborough into Dunlop Loop and Shield with the inside run. Look at Grice coming through the field and Masterton going out around the outside. The next one back on the inside is Peter McLeod and the yellow RX-7 as they worked past Peter Warren and now come down the back straight. Shield in front.
That was aggressive driving by Terry Shield. He'd lost the corner to Barry Jones, but he grabbed it back again, went deep under braking, and look at the lead he's opening up already. And look at how Alan Grice is trying to force his way through past the second place man, Barry Jones. Here's one driver who said, I don't want those RX-7s in front, but Jones squirts away from him down the back straight. Coming now towards Winfield, the sharpest bend on the circuit. Shield goes round beautifully, hangs the tail out slightly, but gets the power down immediately, and he and Jones are locked away there. Jones is flying now. He's got that little Mazda of his really going. In fact, Grice has dropped back a little bit, and the rest of the field wangling their tails as they go down the straight to complete the first of 10 laps.
Grice, Masterton and Finnegan, in fact, in a bunch of 3 big V8s up ahead of them. Shield and Jones not giving them a chance at the clear track at this stage. They really are flying, these two little cars, and the speeds that they've been setting around here, as Evan Green said, has given the big V8s something to catch, and I rather doubt, Evan, that they're going to ever get close to these times from here on.
I don't think so, because they do have a problem, the bigger cars, with their weight, with braking and so on, which the little light Mazdas don't have, and they're so quick now. They can run the same width tyres, so there's no rubber advantage as far as the big cars. In fact, they're handicapped by a lack of traction, so they've got a real problem. And the longer the event goes, the more it will favour the light cars like this one, the Mazda RX-7 of Terry Shield. A little bit of a tail wag by Barry Jones in second spot, and Alan Grice going very hard and leading the rest. Steve Marston in the big Falcon.
Terry Finnegan just behind him. Paul Jones also in there in another RX-7. Peter McLeod and Gary Wilmington in a Falcon.
Terry Shield dropping down into Dunlop Loop has spent a lot of time here at the circuit this week. There's car number 30 spinning out.
Tony Cabbage. Got the boot up, taking some luggage.
And rejoins the field as we pick the cars up coming down towards Honda Corner, and the race lead still held by Terry Shields. Eurocar Mazda, number 37. Just sitting back behind him, Barry Jones and the number 41 RX-7. And then, of course, Alan Grice, the first of the Commodores, the STP entry, car number 6. As I mentioned, the 2 Mazda front runners today have spent almost 4 days here at the circuit this week.
Finnegan takes Masterton down through Winfield Corner, moves up into 4th spot behind Grice. Oh, Masterton had a touch there with Finnegan. Nearly went into the wall.
He allowed Peter McLeod to go by in the Slick 50 Mazda RX-7, and McLeod has got up. He's in the yellow car coming through now. You can see Finnegan, who got through. McLeod slipped through while Marston went wide, and now Marston, the big white Ford, has the job of getting by McLeod, and he'll try very hard because, as we saw at last meeting, the most aggressive driver on the tracks now, as well as probably the most improved, is young Steve Marston. That's him. The third of that group in the big Falcon. Terry Finnegan is through, and Finnegan is quick.
Well, I'll tell you what, Finnegan showed Steve Masterton a bit of muscle in that manoeuvre.
Well, Finnegan knows his way around the track. He's a very experienced driver and very neat. Watch his lines. He won't pick up the curb, but he goes so close.
Driving well, Terry Finnegan, 105, the blue Commodore. Cloud not that far back behind. Heading down to the right-hander. There's Finnegan. Comes through the corner, uses all of the racetrack. You see the battle-scarred concrete wall there. As Finnegan comes onto the front straight away. One more lap completed. The signals go out to the drivers as they pass the pits there. Masterton still back behind them. And the RX-7, of course, of Peter McLeod, also separating Masterton from being one spot closer to the leaders.
Well, while that battle's going on, the leaders are getting away. There's Masterton coming through now. He was in 4th spot, shuffled back now to 6th. And as we mentioned, he was in a little bit of strife with the stewards after the last meeting here. That's been sorted out, and he's full of confidence again, but he's going to need more than confidence to bridge this gap.
One of the things that aroused the ire of the officials at the meeting last time was that the front flap of the car there was hinged so that it would lower a little bit and let more air into the front of the car. They have great problems cooling these cars, and in fact I speak to Steve's father, who's a very close supporter of the whole team. He reckons they've had to fit a fan to the car now, which has cost them 20 horsepower, and it's still running too hot. He's not sure that the car's going to last a really long race in its present state, so they haven't had time to really get it prepared after the shenanigans at the last meeting to the sort of standard they'd like. They've had to add a fan to it. It's cost them power, and the car is still running too hot, but Steve Marston, trying very hard, is seeing those cars in front of him just slip away. He's losing ground, in fact, to Peter McLeod, and ahead of him Terry Finnegan, and of course losing ground to the leader, still Terry Shield.
Here's Shield coming down towards Honda corner, perfect position, still holding that edge over Barry Jones, although Jones has closed up in the last lap and a half. They're about probably 30 metres clear to 40 metres over Alan Grice. There's 66, Big Rev and Kevin Bartlett looking for some new ideas. Comes the leader through Winfield corner, now up towards Camalco, Terry Shield, man who puts a lot of effort into his racing here. Across the strike, with 4 laps remaining, the opening heat of the Better Brakes AMSCAR Series. Meeting number 2 at Amaroo Park. Shield, your race leader.
And look at the way Barry Jones is going. He really is driving like a man possessed. Maybe not taking the fastest lines, but driving with a certain amount of desperation. He's in the second car, number 41, and going terribly hard into the corners to try and gain a centimetre at a time from Terry Finnegan. They're in almost identical cars. Barry Jones, who with his father prepares his own car, has a lot to uphold here. He's a great preparer of RX-7s, reckons he knows more about it than anyone else, and he's a good driver as well, as we discovered last year. He certainly made up ground on that series of bends there. He's now a little closer to the tail of Terry Shield, but Shield is a record holder. He was sensationally fast in practice yesterday, and try as Barry Jones might, he just can't narrow that gap consistently around the track.
Alan Grice in third spot, got plenty of empty track. There's about 60 metres in front of him and about another 100 metres behind him before he comes to the next group of cars. Finnegan and McLeod, a good scrap going on between them for fourth. Up the hill, Shield in front, Jones and Grice following. Oh, Jones really got the wheels up on that corner.
He's really chucking the car around, Gary. You watch the way he throws it. You know, where there's a chance to put it a little bit sideways, just go a little deeper into the corners, he does it. He's making up ground, but it's only by minute amounts each lap. But he is certainly closing on Terry Shield. Mind you, I think Shield is quite aware of where Barry is, and he's keeping him in sight. But Shield has lost a bit of ground to Jones that time. The race is now halfway through.
KB's big Camaro looks like it's about to expire, I think, and leave the track.
In fact, he's not.
Days, maybe.
Yes, he's not far in front of these, the leading pair, in fact, and they should lap him this lap if Kevin continues on this lap with big 66, the Chevy Camaro.
I think he's pulled off.
Here comes the race leader up Bitcher Pave Hill. Still running away with this one, Terry Shield of Sydney. Barry Jones, also an Amaroo specialist, running in second. And oh, how times change. The opening meeting here saw the ever so competitive Ford Falcon of Steve Masterton. Shield went on to win the series on that day, but the Fords and Commodores were far more competitive than this and didn't get to the starting line, and it still hasn't today. But the Masters have been able to pick up almost half a second overall, 3 of them, and this fellow in particular, 1.1 yesterday under his track record, and I would think giving it everything he's got to try and take the record down with about 1 lap remaining.
He's coming around to get the last lap board now, Mike, and he really has shown them all a thing or two here at Amaroo Park today. Although take nothing away from Barry Jones, he's clung to his tailpipe most of the way, and is still there. In fact, one mistake by Shield, you know, and it wouldn't take much for Jones to get through. Up over the hill last time. Familiar sight. Shield still absolute concentration. He knows Jones is there. There's been nobody else there right through the race. Very large in the rearview mirror.
There's just nothing Jones can do about it. He's watching the lines that Shield is taking. Shield is putting his car perfectly placed on the track. And as hard as he might try, Barry Jones just cannot make up the ground to get close to this man. Terry Shield driving so coolly, just relaxed there at the wheel, saving fractions of a second on every corner with his lines and his neat approach. Look at the way he goes into the corners. Doesn't swing the tail dramatically, puts the power down neatly, gets it going. He's almost got this race won. It's been a great drive by Terry Shield.
Here we go. And justly deserved. The flag waves for Terry Shield, car 37, Mazda RX-7, winner of the first heat of the Better Brakes AMSCAR Series today. Second place going to Barry Jones in car 41 and Alan Grice.